Hi everybody, I am Bethany from Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews, and today we have a special guest, Jenn, the Board Gaming Librarian, and we are going to be talking about a plethora of things, but one of the main things we're going to be talking about is the terms of access over ownership, or basically why it's important for libraries to have a board gaming collection. But before we get into that, let's have Jenn introduce herself.
What's up, everyone? Thank you, Bethany, and Ryan in the background. Go away, Ryan! For having me on. I'm known as the Board Game Librarian, and ta-da! Here we are.
Oh, did you guys see we're twinning?
We are. So I totally bought this. I saw Bethany with it on Instagram, and I was like, "Where did you get that?" I must have it. But I ordered it. I ordered mine at the beginning of May, and I just got it on Thursday. It took forever for it to come.
That's COVID shipping.
It was COVID shipping. True. Yes. Yes. We're quite the nice twins here. So
tell us a little bit about your background of like being the board game librarian. Like, how did that come together?
So I've been doing gaming in libraries almost 5 years now, and I had an Instagram account, just random stuff, and I don't know, it was maybe 2016 when my husband and I were like, maybe I should try to like do something with this, to try to do reviews or really kind of amp up what I'm doing and have a bigger presence, because to me, and we could talk about this, to me, part of being able to do what I do, with the Dice Tower and on my own, is having access to games that I can then turn around and bring that access to my community. So it's a dual-fold thing. Like, I don't just do this stuff just for me. I do it kind of with a return effect for my community. So, yeah. Woo! So I've been puttering around on Instagram probably since 2016. Been a Dice Tower contributor since January 2018. But I got my start with Roy on Favorite Game Friday. Woo! So that's like the long and the short. So
that's exciting.
What's really funny is some people will go, so they'll meet me in person. They go, "So what do you do for a living?" And I go,
"I'm an aerobics instructor."
Yeah. Let's see. I'm a dog walker.
I'm a professional rock climber.
Yes. Oh yeah. Whew. My grip strength is very good on handling all those books. Yeah. I don't know. So
maybe people think it's just a handle and they don't realize it's a reflection of anything.
Yeah, probably. But I've worked in libraries 14 years, and I've had my master's for almost 9 years. So I have a lot of background working in libraries, and about 10 years probably as a board gamer.
I see that happening a lot with people who work in libraries. They start like at any position and then they get their master's. Like sometimes it's just a passing through job and then they like just love the library and then they end up like going further with it. That's a common story that I hear. I'm not participating in that story, but it is a common story.
Oh, so totally. I mean, it totally could. How long have you worked in a library?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so I started as a student shelfer when I was 16, and I'm 31, so math that.
That's why we work in libraries, right?
15. Ryan said 15, so I've been working in my current library for 15 years, and this is the third position I've had. So for those of you out there who may not know, I also work at a public library, which is why I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, and I didn't know that until you posted on the Dice Tower, and I was like, what?
Yes.
How have we not had this conversation before? And
we library employees flock to each other. There's just a mindset of library employees that as soon as you find somebody else, you're just like, Because libraries are just amazing. They're just amazing. If you do not utilize your library, you are missing out. There are so many online resources that you can have right now. If you're like not going out, you are missing out.
Agreed. Sometimes I feel like I'm preaching to the choir when someone goes, "Oh, I don't go to the library." I'm like, "You've offended my ancestors." What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
Before everything shut down, you ran like a board game club at your library?
So that was really my start at my library. So 2015 in March, my husband said to me, "Hey, let's go to Gen Con. I gotten in with Aries Games and we're going to teach War of the Ring." I said, "Great, cool, awesome, let's do this." So I then turned around to my boss. I was in a different position at that point, and I said, "Hey, I got this idea about starting a board game group here at the library, but I'd like to do it like on the cheap, right? Because you know, when you're pitching something new and it's potentially like super costly, you try to go in on the cheap."
Yes. It won't affect the budget, I promise.
Yeah. I was like, it'll maybe just be snacks that we'll have to buy, but like that's it. So that was my kind of like hook, line, and sinker to my boss. And I said, I'm going to go to Gen Con, I'm going to bring some business cards, and I'm going to see if I can start up a collection that we can use at this club. And so like 2015 is such a different game even from now, with librarians reaching out to publishers and things like that. Publishers were a lot more receptive back in 2015 in terms of sending things out to libraries. So I'm going around Gen Con, and Rio Grande was there, and I wandered over to their booth, and you do the spiel. And the guy went right into his booth. He pulled out 3 games and handed them to me right then and there.
Oh my gosh.
So it was Dominion, it was Carcassonne, and maybe another, it was something else. But so those were my first 3 games from my library. So I go back the next year, and I say to him, "Hey, just to thank you, this really was great. It was an awesome start." So what does he do? He goes into the booth, he pulls out 2 more games, and is like, "There you go." So Rio Grande Games in general is just so amazing to libraries because they believe in our mission, which is sometimes I feel like I'm still, after all this time, preaching that and going, hello. So I've run my group for almost 5 years. We get anywhere from 17 to 47 adults.
That's like huge for an adult program.
Yeah,
I don't think people understand like how big of a deal that is. That's awesome.
So we're once a month on a Saturday. We started off at 2.5 hours, and after the first meeting, it was like super clear that 2.5 hours was not long enough. The idea was so we have an FLGS in town, like 1.5 miles away and I partner with them, and I wanted it to be different from like the weekly meetup at the store. I wanted it to be like an experience. So you're setting aside almost a whole Saturday. You're going to the library. You're going to be there 4.5 hours, and it's an experience. I had other people who had been doing weekly meetups at libraries, and no one was coming. They're like, "Wow, 2 people are showing up. What is going wrong?" So I changed it to that model, and I think it gave people something to look forward to. People with kids will be like, "I'm getting a babysitter. This is our thing. We go out." So do you have a group that meets at any of your libraries?
We had a group 4 years ago, because I was pregnant with our second daughter when that was happening, and they got anywhere from 6 to 15 people. So it was okay, it was good, but then there was a huge shift in departments and restructuring, and that was one of the programs that kind of just disappeared. So they have done like once or twice a year they'll do like game days and stuff like that, but it's not a reoccurring program.
Oh,
but we just started back in whenever I posted that thing on the Dice Tower, we just started having a circulating collection, which I think, which is awesome because as you know, and as I know, if you're in this hobby, that means you have expendable income, and libraries are all about reaching out, and especially to the communities that maybe don't have an expendable income. And so being able to give them this as an opportunity of something to enjoy, I just think is a wonderful thing that libraries can offer.
So I hope sometimes that I act as an ambassador for what we do as a bridge between what libraries and publishers and designers like that. And several years ago, I was trying to explain to a publisher via a third party kind of what the return on investment was with working with a library. And this is a fairly big publisher. I think they have a very popular game. And the owner was like, well, they're not going to go and buy games. Like, they're not going to be able to buy the games at the library. So why would I even want to do this? And I was kind of like, oh, okay. It's interesting, too, because the same publisher, when I have game pieces that are missing, I don't ask them, I don't email them or fill out a form for replacement game piece, because they're going to charge me for the game piece, they're going to charge me for the mailing envelope, and they're going to charge me for the postage. And it's like, oh, and they want it to be within 90 days. Like, they want like the receipt, the original receipt of when it was purchased, and it's like, I ain't got that. So
have you heard of the shelf of shame? Anybody? Sometimes you own a game for like 6 months before you even open it up.
Yeah. So that really ticked me off, quite frankly. Because it's putting your blinders on and not seeing the bigger picture, because book publishers don't see it that way, although we won't get started about ebooks.
I was just talking to somebody about that the other day.
And DVD companies don't see it that way, or audiobooks. So, okay, all right, fine. That's fine if you want to believe that, but you're wrong. You're wrong. Because, and you already said it, the crux of the matter is, and I say this so often, and my poor husband who's sitting in the couch over there is going to probably roll his eyes, like, Jenn is saying this again. Where else in America can you go as a private citizen? First of all, be welcomed there. Not have anyone say to you, where are you from? What country are you from? What's your race, gender, identity, or religion? We don't ask those questions. And you can go in, borrow materials, find information, and leave. There's nowhere else in America. And it's for free.
Yeah, or just come and hang out without an expectation of buying anything.
Yep. So I say we're in the last few bastions of, to me, democracy in our country. And is my husband, is that you going? He probably is. So, and the fact too that, so for example, my community that I work in, we're about 15 minutes northeast of Hartford. We're kind of in Yukon territory.
Okay.
But we are a community of 60,000 people, very blue collar, and very, very, very diverse. And I mean that in all religiously, racially, economically, very diverse. So in one area of our town, 42% of the population lives below the poverty line. So we're talking people who can't even afford to put food on their tables.
Yeah.
We're talking real problems here. But the fact that they can come in, like you were saying, to the library and check out Jamaica, right behind you, Jamaica. I have Jamaica in my library. And they can have the same experience that you and I would have walking in. And we've stripped all of those monetary barriers away.
Yeah.
That, to me, that kind of access is unparalleled. Because
Oh, yeah.
even going to an FLGS, some FLGSs will charge you for the table time. They'll charge you for snacks. Like I said, at our game group, I don't charge you for snacks, so it's free there. Or, if you wanted to check the game out and play it at the table in the library, you can do that. Because maybe you don't want to have people back at your house because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
That's the big picture. That, to me, is what the purpose is. The purpose is to bring more people into our hobby, and we can't do that if we continue to put these kind of monetary labels on them. And again, where you and I go, oh, it's just a $50 game, well, that's fine. Maybe we won't buy our special coffee for the week, right?
Yeah, but that's like my gas money to get to work to some people.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was really ticked, and I feel like the more I talk about this too, the more I hope this person hears me, because, and I'm not going to call him out by name, although someday I might actually do that. I get upset enough. Again, I really see it as we're building new gamers. We're building the hobby in ways that an FLGS can't even do. Because if you're going into an FLGS, you're probably already someone who's played a game, has games, knows someone who does. Whereas when you walk into a library and you see these board games on the shelf, you might go, ooh, what is this? It's free for me to take home. I can try it. There's no pressure. Ooh.
Yeah.
So how many games do you have in your collection at your library?
We have maybe just 20, because we used all the games that we had for the board game club that we had, and we just converted those to a circulating collection.
Yep.
And then we haven't added to that yet, and then, like I said, that happened in the winter, and then all of this happened, so we haven't even seen the chance of seeing it like grow and stuff. And I've been wanting us to do this for a long time. I volunteered myself. Like, I will be the person that checks all the pieces when they come in. I will do that because I just want us to have this so badly that I will take that burden upon myself, because I just want to see these out in the wild.
It makes you happy. I call them my babies, and people know. I'm very protective of these.
Yeah.
And when you think about it too, some of them are like some of the most expensive items that we have in our libraries, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What do I have? I mean, I
like
have
part of audiobooks.
Oh, yeah. So it is an expensive investment whether we use grant money or gift money or we're using taxpayer dollars. It's still an investment of some sort. But yeah, and they do need to be. So some people will say, "Oh, I'm gonna buy a scale and we're gonna weigh them," and I go, "No. You count those. You count those bad boys, each and every single one of them, because you and I both know if 2 pieces are missing, and maybe they're small cardboard chits, but those are the most essential chits in the game." Again, it's about that experience, and when I look at it as when someone checks it out, I want it to be as brand new as possible for them. That everything is in the right baggies. It's, they open it up and it's not like on the inside.
Well, and it's also it's also valuing the patron as a person. If you just get like old used stuff, then it kind of like, I don't know, devalues your personhood. But when you have this product or this book or this game that is like almost new, it gives that person value.
I agree. I agree.
So how long have you guys had your collection for, and does it circulate pretty well?
So I think I have a lot of my ideas in the shower. It's usually while I'm washing my hair.
That's a common thing, I think. I think that happens a lot. Yeah.
Ooh, just swishing the shampoo around. And I was like, ugh, geez. Because at that point in 2017, we had maybe 125 games that I had gotten from publishers, which was like wild. That's wild. And I was like, oh, and they were only available for the Board Game Club, which was once a month. And I'd gotten so many questions and comments from people saying, hey, when can we take these home? So I finally was like, all right, we should just let them out in the wild.
Yeah.
So it's been since September 2017. We're up to 275 now between children's, teen, and adult. And adult has the bulk of them. And I don't have my numbers for this past year, but the first year that we circulated them, it was like 1,224 games were circulated.
Rock on! That is awesome.
So yeah, I mean that's a lot. For the pure fact too that we're not lending them out to other libraries for other libraries' patrons. Like, you have to come to our library to check them out. And people come from all over the state to check out our games because we have such a huge collection. And Connecticut is small, granted. So it's not a hardship for someone to travel maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah.
For this, and they'll take a big stack home. But you can put them on hold. You can renew them now. They go out for 3 weeks, and our fines are so.
Ours check out for 3 weeks. At least I think they do. Maybe no, it wasn't a week. It was 3 weeks. How can you play? I know, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and our fines are ridiculously cheap. It's only 15 cents a day if you're late. And that was another thing too. We had thought about doing like $1 a day, and it was like, again, 42% of the population lives in poverty. You want the fine to match kind of where your community is at. So it's overall worked out very well. I've lost some games over the years.
That will happen in any collection, though. That's just every selector is going to lose stuff.
The saddest one to me was Legends of Andor, because I just bought it, and the first checkout, the guy loses it. Sad.
Yeah.
And pieces go missing all the time. And I would say that 90% of publishers, although not Asmodee anymore, which is a real big problem for me, I must say, they were so good. They were so good about sending replacement stuff. Most places are really good about sending replacement pieces out for no charge, except that one. Big old berry on them. So what would you say are the most popular games so far at your library?
Gosh, I don't even know. It didn't even have a chance to like really develop yet before we shut down, because we only had it for about 3 months. I'm curious now. I'll have to go back into our catalog when I get in and check on the back end about which ones are that popular. I only had like 3 months to grow, man. Just so everybody knows, I don't work behind the scenes in the library, so I don't actually have to keep track of stats like that. I just get to give you the stuff. I don't have to keep track of that stuff. I just know that when things are popular, like that Crawford book, Where the Crawdad Sings, gosh, it's just like that was on hold for like 10 months.
It's super popular in my library.
I remember seeing it on the shelf once. Like, there wasn't a reserve on it, and I was like, oh my gosh, how did this even get here? I can't believe it's sitting here out here in the wild. Just feels that way.
Picture of it. Post it on Facebook.
Yeah, I bet it was on hold later that day, but it was a shock. So I don't even know which ones get circulated the most or even the most popular. I know that a lot of the kid ones, Dinosaur Escape, A Peaceful Kingdom game, I know that has gotten checked out a few times. Yeah, no, that's all the information I got for you on our collection, because it didn't have a chance yet. It didn't have a chance to grow and become amazing.
Spread its wings and fly.
Yes, yeah. It just did not have a chance yet. But hopefully, and we're not circulating them right now either, which is unfortunate, but hopefully we'll circulate them again and they can go out into the wild. Because I want the collection to grow, because I just think games are such an amazing thing to do, to be able to do. It's something to where, especially if you live in a climate to where, 25% of the year it's just not safe to be outside, and so it's nice to have other things to do. And you have these, even though we do have video games and movies, it's nice to give our community yet another option of something that they can do. And so I'm really hopeful, crossing all my fingers. See, all of them. I gotta go like this for the extra cross. Yeah. And then, sometimes you can do your leg. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just super. You're a ballerina. You should be able to cross your legs.
Different chair, I guess. So what games do you have in your collection?
Okay, so I think we have Ex Libris. We have Harry Potter, the Harry Potter deck builder. Thank you. Hogwarts Battle. We have what? Biblios. Do you remember? I know we have Catan. I know we have Connect 4x4. I know we have. Do you remember what else we have, Ryan?
It's been so while since I've been there.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I haven't even worked in that building in because only one of our building carries the collection. And I think it's similar to your thing. If I remember correctly, you have to, you can place them on reserve maybe, but you have to be at that building to check them out. I don't even remember. There's been a lot of, as I'm sure you have too, but there's been so many emails recently that I can't even remember everything that we're supposed to be doing right now.
My staff, another laundry list of stuff.
Yes. So it's a really small collection, because like I said, what they used for that thing, they just transferred over to here, all the things that were in good condition and had their pieces. It didn't even have a chance to grow. I do know the selector sent out an email before she did this to try to get some ideas, which of course I readily responded to, with just things that I thought would be good for the masses, I guess. Love letter. I think we have 2 different love letters. Probably a Batman one. Who knows, man? Who knows? I just remember being excited that it exists.
It does. And now your patrons can enjoy them.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting. Okay, so I got some Spitfire questions for you, Jen. As you may or may not know, I really like tea a lot. So I want to know, what is your favorite hot beverage?
Oh goodness. I do really like coffee. I have 1 cup of coffee a day in the morning. I cannot function without that 1 cup of coffee. But I do love a good cup of tea. I do like loose leaf. I do like David's tea for my loose leaf stuff. And if it was a hot tea, oh goodness. I mean, Earl Grey is always good. A nice herbal. So yeah. How about, all right, so your favorite tea, what's your favorite tea then?
My all-time favorite tea is Ravens in the Study. It's a blend by this company called Dryad Tea. They're at Gen Con every year, by the way. Yeah, and they're amazing. It's a black tea, and it's my all-time favorite. I really like their Raspberry M2, which is just a raspberry green tea blend, and their Irish Rover, which is raspberry black, but this is all loose leaf. It's amazing. You should check them out. Dryad Tea. Go to the website. They're amazing. All right, next Spitfire question. What was your first favorite game?
Probably Twilight Struggle. So when we first got in, Matt had played games before, and I was a total noob. And my first modern board game was Battle Cry. And so then we went from that Battle Cry to Mage Knight, which was a lot for me. And all I wanted to do, like I do in video games, is just kill things. That's all I like to do. It's the hacking and the slashing, which is why in Gloomhaven I loved being the scoundrel, because I could go in and so maybe Twilight Struggle. Maybe Twilight Struggle. Yeah. How about you?
My first favorite game was Trajan.
I played that later, and I do really like it. I'm not sure it's my favorite Feld, but it's up there.
It's a good one. It's a good one. And then lastly, where can people find you?
So on ye old Instagram at boardgame.librarian. I might have a cat that's going to try to climb on the table and floof by. Oh, yep, you're coming. Here we go. Here we go, folks. Great. All right. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Everyone sees your pants there. Yes, everyone does see your pants. At boardgame.librarian, and then on Facebook at the Board Game Librarian. And our website, theboardgamelibrarian.com. But yeah, on the Dice Tower, on stuff.
The places.
The places. Yep. Here we go. Yep. All right. So this is real, people. This, when you see it in the videos, this is my life.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with us today and talking about board games and libraries, two subjects I'm very passionate about. It's always nice to find somebody who's also passionate in that world, intersects. You all should subscribe. You can always find Ryan and I on Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews on YouTube. And you can find us under that same name on Facebook. And you can find us on Twitter under Ryan and Bethany 1 and Instagram under Ryan and Bethany. All right, everybody, this is Jen. I'm Bethany, and we will chat with you next time. Bye.